We all come from spirit. Spirit exists whether you believe in it or not.
In your own mind, have a conversation with him and remind him that you're there if he ever wants you. You okay?
It can come through a paranormal experience they have. Hold on, she's coming for me. One sec.
Even if you go near him, I will come after you. So just back off. He cannot touch anyone in your home right now. So don't worry. I'm glad I was able to make you feel better by passing judgment over your family. Welcome. My name is Maryam, and I am a medium to people, pets, and the paranormal. That was not paranormal, by the way. Tonight we have a good show. We're going to try and go on a little location with Melissa, haunted location. I say we're going to try because, you know, Wi-Fi is always sketchy when you're on location, but it should be fun. And you can see Oliver here. See him in the corner? See if everybody behaves tonight. So my work varies. I work with paranormal. I work with aliens. I work with humans. I work with animals. And one of the things that makes my work a little bit more unique is I definitely combine the why we are here, why are we having this experience, with the information that comes through. One of the questions I'm asked a lot about is pets, which is so perfect. I did not plan this. Trust me, my dogs are not that well trained where they can be in frame. And for those of you that watch me on Instagram live, I'm live Tuesday, Thursdays. You'll know that there's no planning that. They just walk in and out whenever they want. But a lot of people ask about their pets and if their pets are their guides, if when their pets die, if they're their guides. And yes to all of that, and maybe no to all of that, because each animal is very different and specific to the person and to you. So I've had a handful of animals pass through in my life, and some have stayed as guides and some don't. The most interesting thing I would say about these two, Oliver and Opal. Oh, this sound is on the video. I hope we don't say anything we don't want to hear. So the interesting thing though about Opal, I'm pointing, but you can't see her, is that she was very much like I asked my guides. I was like, you have got to bring me somebody who can help me manage the energy that I work with. Because Oliver, who you can see right now, he is not capable of managing energy in the home. He is not capable of managing paranormal energies. Opal, she's like a multitasker. You know, she knows that she came in, she has to help Oliver, she has to help me. She's got a lot of work to do. All animals are like that. Not all animals can handle that job. Now, that doesn't mean that they will not be your guide when they pass on. That just means in this life, in this experience that you and your animal are supposed to have together, it may look and feel different. When our pets pass on, just like when people pass on, we learn a lot about who their spirit is, not just who they were in body. And animals in particular can become much bigger, grander, after they pass. You know, it's funny because when I do readings, if for people that are familiar with other psychics and mediums, they probably have experienced a lot of them when they're in a session saying, oh, I'm speaking with Archangel Michael or Gabriel, all the big famous angels, right? And when I do my stuff, I'll be like, oh, Daisy's here, my cat Derby, and Olivia. And I've had people go, who are you talking to? Like, you don't talk to all the archangels. And I'm like, actually, no, these are the people I deal with. You know, it's not nearly as celebrity driven and as exciting. But for me, I love that. I love when certain animals come in at certain times. And then, you know, Opal, right now. She is so deep and so profound in the work that she's doing, but she's also still a dog. So her ball's stuck under the couch, and we're going to hear her scratch probably for the whole show. So she can go from deep and profound to just a silly, silly little dog, which a lot of people assume if their animal has like those deep eyes and do very like connect with humans and are very deep in that respect, that may mean that they are higher level, which it can, but sometimes it's not, has nothing to do with that. You know, you meet Opal and she's just insane. And if I were to tell you like she is this incredibly evolved being, you'd be like, really? The one that just peed on the rug? And I'm like, yeah, the one that just peed on the rug. So anyway, tonight we have a good show. We're going to start with Melissa. I'm going to read to you all that Melissa does. She's a paranormal investigator. She's the author of the book Destination Mystery Case Files. Destination Mystery Case Files, Volume 1. And she's the host of the podcast, Destination Mystery Podcast. So she's got a lot on her plate, a lot that she's doing. Hi, this is the first time Melissa and I are working together. We met briefly a few minutes ago, but hi, Melissa. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Maryam. Thank you for allowing me on your show. I'm excited.
Yes,
I love that
I'm
you're
excited.
talking about animals too, because I never go anywhere without mine. I don't know if you can see him.
Who is that?
Anyway, that's Toby.
Toby?
He goes with me. Yep, he goes with me everywhere.
Oh, I love that. How does Toby do out in the these haunted locations?
He does amazing. He is the best little companion dog I've ever had. Like he guards me like I am the queen. He's so
That
good.
is so cute. Oh, I love that. How old is he?
About 5.
And so when you brought, I feel like I'm interviewing now. I'm interviewing you now, but I want to know, when you brought him on your first ghost hunt, how did he do?
He did fine. He usually just sits right by my feet, and when he first goes in, he'll sniff around, and I can kind of tell if there's something weird in the building by how he acts. But most of the time, he just kind of sits at my feet and follows me wherever I go. So he doesn't do much.
That's really cool.
Last week, though, we were doing an investigation, and one of the ladies there that was with our group started to have like a little bit of a panic attack, and he got aggressive for the first time with anybody. And so I think there might have been something else going on, but I don't know.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
He protects me. He protects me well.
That's really cool. I love that. For people that watch me on Insta, they know if anyone says anything about their animals or their aliens, I stop everything and I talk about aliens and animals.
Those are my 2 favorite things in the world.
Are they really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, then this is going to be fun. Okay, so tell us where you're at and what you're doing, and okay, but don't give away too much information so I can read. But let us know, like, why is this place haunted and a little bit.
So this is an abandoned structure. It used to. Do you want me to tell you what it used to be?
Maybe not. Not yet.
Okay. So there was a big event that happened the year I was born here, and it's just up the road from where I grew up. And it was a place that we came because we were kind of just very intrigued by it. There's often a very ominous presence here, and we believe that we know several different reasons why that is. But I would love to see what your take on it is. It's just a place that's always been very mysterious and intriguing at the same time for me and my brother especially.
What city, state are you in?
Right now, I am in Teton, Idaho.
All right. So for anyone that's new, I'm looking down at my computer. I've got photos. I work off of photos, whether it's locations or humans, pets, even if they're standing right in front of me, I have photos. So that's what I'm looking down at. I'm going to see what I feel. So I gravitate first towards this interesting picture of the yellow ladder
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But hold on. You're welcome to talk while I'm kind of,
Oh,
if you want, if you
I
got
don't,
something to say.
well, I can tell you, we've been in that area where the yellow ladder was. We climbed to
Okay.
the top. We did get some strange activity there.
You did. Okay. Let me go
Uh,
back to that.
I mean, we've gotten strange activity in all these pictures, but
Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm flipping through the pictures right now to see what
there's the
jumps
ladder.
out.
Yep.
Okay, there's the infamous ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm I'm at this right now. The picture that I'm on is where there's a bunch of rocks and grass and then like an opening.
Yes.
And I'm getting a combination. So that's the picture that I'm on right now.
Uh-huh. That's the
This
one that I
is
have questions about, by the way.
okay. What's your question? Let me
I
start with
want to
that before I go off.
know, I want to know what it was used for. Who, yeah. It's, we think, well, it's built into the side of a mountain, but you can obviously tell that somebody built a door and two walls, and there's like a stove inside and stuff. So somebody lived there or stayed there for a
Are
time.
there pictures of inside that in here?
There, no. I did get a few. There's not very good. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So what's interesting about this photo is the first thing that starts coming to me, and I know a lot of people are more versed in this than I am. And just for the record, I don't read conspiracy theories and I'm not into any of that. With that being said, I will say what comes up, even if it sounds insane and over the top. But I'm sensing like creatures similar to like a Bigfoot vibe.
Oh,
And yes.
my brother's here with me. Just that's okay. Keep going. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, you're like, oh, and I'm like, what? Okay,
No,
so
yeah. Go ahead.
okay, so and so there's this land has been walked a lot, and it's been walked by different types of creatures. Okay, what was built here, I for the moment, but I may come back and revisit this, so don't hold me to this. I'm not feeling anything that fascinating about this, what was built here. I'm feeling like there was an intention when this door was made, and the intention never followed through. Like they just stopped. Like there was a moment of somebody with great power and great power, I might say. Like I don't mean power like a king, but someone who
Mm-hmm.
was in who has the power to do stuff, meaning power in the government, I want to say. They had
Okay.
intention when they did this, and then then someone just cut it off and stopped it. No, we're not doing that. Change. And so it was like midway through building, they were like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. And they just walked out.
Okay.
What I can't keep the vibe I can't keep kicking and letting go of is this Bigfoot vibe.
Really?
This, yeah, like this. There has been creatures here, creatures that we. That's all I can say. Is there have been
Well,
creatures here that resemble that.
there have been sightings, and never seen it, but I've heard something that could possibly relate to that.
You
Are you
repeat
there?
that
Oh.
last part.
I've heard noises that could be possibly related to a Bigfoot. Yes.
um that is okay. In that location, that's what we're dealing with. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go to. Give me another photo that you have questions about.
Let's go to the one with the big three. I don't know what they're called. It's the big cement building that has like three open door things. Yeah, that one.
Oh,
so
okay, cool. Yep.
I've gotten several EVPs here, but they weren't related to the event that happened, and so I'm curious about those. Do you want me to tell you what happened or what it is yet, or no?
Yeah. Tell me what happened. Yeah.
So this used to be a dam. It was called the Teton Dam, and it burst in 1976, and it washed through, I don't remember how many counties, a lot of counties. It was a big disaster here that happened in 1976. So, I'm thinking when I'm out there that the vibe I should be getting would be related to that disaster. But
And what are you getting?
more, I'm not one to really believe in like really evil spirits or anything, but this is the one place that I do get that energy and that vibe from. There were lots and lots of rumors when we were growing up that there was a satanic cult that came out here to do rituals. And so I wonder if that's what I'm feeling, if they brought it in, if it was already here, that sort of thing, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
we've had so many instances of really just bizarre, crazy, unusual things happening here that I think there's just a plethora of things going on out here.
Okay. There were this location that I'm looking at, that original picture of the three tiers, breeds unusual energy, and so there was the dam when it broke. That's what you said, right? That was purposeful. That was done on purpose. That wasn't an accident, and it wasn't nature. The question I have is, was that purposeful, meaning this satanic ritual, which I feel with you, or was it a human? It feels more like an energetic bust that affected the land more than it was. I mean, in essence, that is human destruction, because the humans, I do feel humans purposely conjuring that.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No. Go ahead.
So there's a book that I read about this, and it's mainly about a sheriff who was investigating the cult, and they often wonder where this dam was built. There never should have been a dam built here, and they didn't really listen to the officials saying this isn't a good place for it. It's not going to work. But they often wonder if this land was cursed from the beginning, and the dam kind of washed away all the evil, and that was the intent of the whole thing, if that makes sense. But that was just a theory that this sheriff might have had. So
okay, hold on to that. My animals are freaking out right now. There is residual energy left there. There is a lot of residual energy left there. Ideally, the buildings would be demolished, including any fencing and any like if there's pipes or water set up, like you'd have to destroy all of that. You don't need to destroy the land. You need to remove the artifacts, if that's the right word, that are on the land to get rid of. I don't like to use the word curse very often because
right.
you know, okay.
I know.
But
I don't either. I don't know that I believe it.
But there is this sense of a impending doom that's been placed around it by humans.
Yeah, okay.
And there is, like, even with this the graffiti that comes in, all this graffiti, it's like a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer of dark, you know. And it's like, first come in and wash the cement and then get rid of all the cement, like just get rid of all of it and let the earth it's replenish itself. But if we don't do that, this will be almost like a vortex of, what are you looking for? You'll get it here. And so you wouldn't, it's actually, and I don't say this lightly, it is actually a dangerous place for people to go who aren't well equipped and aware.
Yes,
because
it is.
Tell me a little bit about why you say yes, it is.
It's, I mean, where I'm on top of the canyon, but you have to kind of hike into the canyon. The waters there are pretty rough. There's some rapids. You don't have cell service when you get down there, and there's a lot of, you know, open structures and pipes and holes and things that if you don't know what you're doing or come prepared, you could get yourself into trouble.
Yeah. And that is because I feel like you're energetically pushed and moved. Like I feel like people have gone there and felt like actual forces moving them, influencing them. And it's not that there's necessarily spirits like that are recently out of body. It's not that. It's this vortex of energy that was planted there that is easy to get sucked up into. And if you bring in your devices and you are listening, you will hear voices. Those voices are the people that were practicing this satanic behavior. You're hearing their voices. It's like their voices are like stuck in this time warp, and you can't get them out. You can't get them out. Not the person, but the voice.
Is it more of a residual type thing then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What have you guys found?
We at one time my brother was climbing through the tunnels and he heard chanting, and we were the only ones there. He was the only one in that specific tunnel, so that was kind of weird. I came out here as a teenager on Halloween night once, and there was a group of people dancing around a fire in white dress clothes, and I thought, you know, it's just somebody being stupid on Halloween night, and maybe my friends even playing a prank. But later on, we learned that that's exactly how the cult used to do their rituals. So I could have seen one of their rituals, but just a lot of
really quick, let me read what Morgan said. I felt that bad energy up there. I don't like it and avoided that place when I was growing up nearby. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Morgan. I have a question to ask you about that, though. Melissa, hold on. Oh, did you actually, so you had a vision of people dancing around. You didn't actually see humans doing that.
No, I actually saw humans doing that. I'm pretty sure they were humans doing that. Yeah. No, I did see them. It wasn't a vision. They actually chased us up when they noticed we were watching them. My friends and I, they chased us up the hill, and we hightailed it out of there as fast as we could.
Well, that's interesting. Now, when you say your brother is your brother there?
He is.
What's his name?
Mike.
Can I see him really quick? Just his
Yep.
his face, not to freak him
He
out.
can't.
Hi,
He
Mike.
can't hear you, but
Oh, sorry. Hi, Mike.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, nice to meet you. So when Melissa was telling me about the chanting, I felt that as soon as she said it. How did you feel when you heard that chanting?
Well, I was the last one coming out of the tunnel. My cousins were ahead of me, and we were on our way out. The center of the dam kind of has the ladders that you saw. One direction goes out to this end of the spillway, and the other direction goes out to where we came in. So we started running out, and that scared me. I'll be honest. There was a deep, dark feeling that we had. We ran out of there, and when we came out, it was pitch black outside, and it was a pretty creepy feeling. I don't know what it was, but it was a low guttural chanting.
And now, do you remember how you slept that night or the following days, if you felt anything after?
That was a long time ago. I
Okay.
know that my cousins they cried for how many days afterwards?
long
A
time.
long time.
It affected them
It
a
affected
lot.
them deeply. They've never been back. It's been 20
And
something years.
did you say they cried after?
Oh, they were sobbing before we even got out, but we kind of had to help
Really?
them. We had to help carry them, not carry them, but assist them to the car because they were so weak and so distraught that they were struggling to get back to the car.
That's
It affected
crazy.
them deeply. Yeah.
The stupid things that
Um,
we do as teenagers,
Yeah.
right?
No, well, so I want to hold that for a moment because I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to do something with it. Hold on. The I'm being shown I'm being shown this group that did that has done that you all experienced, and what they have done is I've never seen this before or talked about this before. I don't know anything about it. This is my first time relaying this type of information because I don't study satanic groups, but they have this ability to, it's like they can put themselves on repeat, and like they can record the vibe that they want, and they can plant it somewhere. And so it's as if it's literally that. It's like if somebody puts a song on repeat and you can't turn it off, and then that they did that, and that energy is always there on repeat. And so if you are, this is why it can be scary, because if you are already suicidal, this is not the place to go. If
No.
you are very grounded, clear, it will still affect you. But what you experienced was their intent to scare, obviously. You felt their intent, and you felt the magnitude of the intent. And then the breaking of the dam was a result of the magnitude of the intent. Did that dam break after or before that incident that you experienced?
Before.
Before. Okay. So that is what you felt. And the magnitude of it to create this dam breaking, you can imagine how strong that had to have been, right? So for you and your cousins to experience that and to be overwhelmed with that, the crying is because when they set these rituals up, its job is to weaken you, is to make you super vulnerable and super, like, not even scared as much as vulnerable. And that's what they're saying, where the tears come from, because there's a difference when they set when they set an intention to create fear or to create weakness, vulnerability. And their intention was weakness and vulnerability with whomever interferes or engages with it. This is why that weakness in the dam happened. It's not to instill fear and destruction as you would think. It's weakness. That's just the overall. So I'm interacting right now with this group, and this is what I'm being told. The intention was, I'm not interacting as in communicating, I'm experiencing them, and I'm being told through my support team what they do and why they do and what they did and why they did it there. And it's honestly, what's so silly about it is there's really no reason. Like, it's just to fuck with people. It's so stupid. Like, there's not even an intention behind it. But the scary thing is they manifested the breaking of the dam. To flip this on its head, we all know that if you can induce this through satanic work, we can also induce the opposite through our work. I chant regularly. My chanting obviously does not align with their chanting, but the power that we are all capable of as individuals and as a group is magnificent. And this is an example of what these guys did. They didn't attach to you all. Obviously, you know that. They didn't, there wasn't any repercussions. So I don't know if anyone did this, but there's no tying it back. Their energy stays very specific to the location they place it in, right? So again, it's like if there's a song on repeat, if you walk out of the building, you're not going to hear the song, right? But if you walk back in the building, you'll hear the song. And that's what they're saying is how this group satanic work, this specific work was done and is done. It's on repeat. Ideally, somehow we would go in and see if we could counteract that for the sake of Mother Earth more than anything else. I'm feeling, and that's a different experience for a different time. It is something we could attempt to tackle. I would bring in a lot more people, not just us, but I would bring in both of you two, and then we would bring in some other people that are strong in that area, and we could actually remove this. It would be challenging, but we could do it, and we should do it, especially if there are children that go out there and are suicidal. I don't know how often that happens there, but if that is a problem, then that is something we'd want to do sooner rather than later. If it's not a problem and people are just kind of curious, so be it. This energy doesn't follow you.
You know, real quick, you said something about weakness, which I never had thought about before. But this place is underwater when the dam was full, and there's a big structure at the bottom that looks like a giant jail cell, 10 by 10, but it's 3 stories high, and the entrance was at the top. So we had to monkey way our way up to the top and then out to the middle of the room, and then climb through. And we've done it before, and we had no problems before getting in or out. But this time, I remember struggling from weakness to get myself back out of that hole. I had never thought about it until you just said that. I struggled to get out of that hole because I was weak, trying to climb out.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Wow. Oh, I'm glad you shared that. I got chills when you were saying that.
I did too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
I want to say something, and I hope I say it correctly and the words come out right. So I am not a religious person. I am a spiritual person. And I know that sometimes people that are religious can get kind of cornered in their way of thinking. And it can kind of, there's a specific way that we think. And that's okay. That's okay. For me, my thinking is expansive, which is why I can say stuff like Bigfoot and satanic rituals, and it is what it is. I say this because you two and your family have I don't like to use the word protection because then it makes some people feel like I'm protected and you're not, or you're safe and I'm not. But you do have a very strong faith, and there's a very strong awareness, which is why you all are allowed, I say, to go in there and, you know, peek around, because there is, it's very similar to what I carry, and I think we acquired it differently, but we all, the three of us have it, is what I'm trying to say. And so you can bring yourself into those situations. And I don't know, I'm sorry, Melissa, what's your I'm sorry, what's your brother's name again?
Mike.
I don't know that, Mike, you grew up the way I did in San Francisco with meditation and with psychics and all that, but I feel like we came to the same place of this strength energetically, so that we can manage situations like this. And I say that because it's important that you know that whatever that faith is for you, I find it fascinating when people like us meet and we come from very different walks of life, but yet we carry the same energetic strength and abilities to manage situations like this. I find that really intriguing. And I share that with you so that you both know that you can continue to do this work and you can take it a step further. And so you begin to get connected to what you're experiencing. And the next time you feel something, whether it's whatever it is, instead of running, you sit and you say, am I supposed to do something with this? Am I supposed to address? Am I supposed to, you know, and begin to move the energy out of spaces like this. You have that ability, is what I'm saying, okay? You have that ability to take your work further.
Okay.
It's interesting because we go in places I very seldom feel anything, but when so I'm able to go in places and it doesn't bother me one way or the other. These big graves, historical cemetery, big graves in high school. The only time I ever get a feeling like that is when we're in imminent danger. When something has actually been happening. We've had that happen a couple of times, so it's interesting you say that.
Yeah, that's very cool that you get that you understand the difference too. We could talk about this forever, so we'll continue this conversation. And you have, Melissa, make sure you guys, both of you, get my information so we can keep this conversation going.
Sounds good.
All right, I know Sarah wants to wrap it up, so be safe. This was a blast. Thank you. It was nice meeting you, Mike. I know we'll be working together again.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye guys. Okay, how do you come out of a satanic ritual and come back to Earth? But this is the beauty of my kooky little dog Opal, glued to me right now. If you heard earlier, before I honed in specifically to what was going on, she was barking and getting everybody riled up in here. And then as soon as I honed in on what it was, she came in, got right behind me, butted up against me, and started doing her work. Just like Melissa's little doggy, I'm sure. Toby, I think was his name. Okay. I'm a little, this is why you can't host and be a medium, because I'm so out of it. Margaret is next. We want to talk to Margaret.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
So I'm good. I don't know if you were watching, but I'm a little out of it from that experience. But I want to focus and get back to come back to Earth and focus on you.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
So, Margaret, you've got some. We could be here all night talking to Margaret. She's got all kinds of stuff going on. Tell me what your. I know. I think you have a personal question, and then I know we wanted to talk about some other stuff. So let's get to your personal question first.
Okay.
Is it your cousin or your?
Yes, it's my cousin, and my
Okay,
cousin.
what happened?
My cousin, he died. He got murdered, in Louisiana. That's what happened. I think in like 2015. 2015. So,
Okay, so I'm looking at this picture here with the three of you, Kiri, Brandon, and Margaret. Which one's Brandon? The one in the middle?
the light-skinned one, the lighter one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
And
hair.
then so Brandon has a long hair. Okay, got it. And then this is Brandon, obviously in the jersey.
Yeah.
So without telling me too much, give me a starting point. What's your question about Brandon?
My question is, I want to know, like, what really happened? Like, what led up to him getting murdered? Like, like, my family, it was so sudden. Like, we weren't aware of anything that was going on. So we're just really like at a loss. We don't know what transpired for this to happen.
All right. Give me a minute. Oh, you two, very close. Were you very close in body or just very close now?
Me and Brandon were very close. Like, we grew up around each other a lot. Like, like we're cousins, but we spent a lot of time together.
Um, he is with you, and that is like psychics always say that. So I want to clarify that. Um, not all loved ones that pass are with us. They're all with us, but they aren't necessarily, I want to use the word assigned to us. I say that word loosely. I say it so you can understand quickly where I'm
Yeah.
going with this.
Okay.
He is assigned to you. And so he is like sitting right there with you right now. He is simply saying, I wasn't surprised by it. It was someone I knew. It wasn't an accident. It was someone I knew. Someone I knew. I am. He is very much okay and at peace. He's not carrying um, anger or anything. He's here to tell you that I'm here to take care of you for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back in body, but I'm going
Okay.
to take care of you for a little bit. There's some work that he wants to help you with. There's some things that he wants to get you through. There's some experiences that are important. But he says, don't worry about me. It wasn't an accident. I know who did it. Let it go. Just let it go. Moving
Wow.
forward, I want you to know that this was all part of our relationship, our connection. What's fascinating about humans and animals is we can have a human or an animal in our life, and we can maybe not be super close, maybe so close, but when they pass, all of a sudden they're like this guardian. And for some people, they just assume that if you're really close in body, then you'll be really close out of body. And that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
In this situation, you are, like I said, he is assigned to you. But when I say assigned, that sounds cold, because this is a soulmated experience that you two have. You have been together a lot, which is not unusual with family and friends and even coworkers. But
Right.
you two have this like spinning magnetic connection, out of body in body, out of body in body, and have been through so many lifetimes together. He carries this sense of ease. He's very much at ease, and very much like, it's all right. Like, he keeps just saying, it's so okay. It is so okay.
Yeah.
I want us to just focus on next steps for you.
Yes. And it's been hard because Because we didn't really like, life happens, and we didn't really talk as much around when that happened. So it was just such, how it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's my cousin. Like, I'll be able to call
Mhm.
him. Like, you
Mhm.
know, like we hadn't talked to each other for a minute. Like we had talked on like Facebook and stuff like that. So when it happened, I felt really guilty because it's
Mhm.
like I felt like I just a little bit just took him for granted, just a little bit, like.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
That's why he keeps saying it's okay. Stop. Like this is not what this is supposed to be about. Your behavior was what anyone at your age at that time would do. That nothing about it was unusual. He keeps stressing that it's just I really want us to we're going to be together again. Don't worry about this. Let's talk. He's saying like let's talk about what's next up for us. Like he keeps saying that. Like what's next up, and he wants you to do things a little bit differently than the family, and wants you to lean into there's things about you that I feel like you might keep secret, or you aren't really open about, or you don't feel comfortable because it doesn't align with kind of maybe whether it's friends or family members. And he's really saying tell her to bring out this side of her. There's this uniqueness to you that only he's not going to tell me what that is, and that it may cause family and friends, he keeps stressing this, like family and friends, to see you as maybe the odd one or a different one or whatever, maybe the
yeah,
one that isn't doing what everyone else is doing or something. And
yeah,
he's saying stay on that track. Does that
and
align?
yeah, and I get that because like back then people would be expecting me to do this or that, and he would always say like, do you?
I mean,
So
you can't say it any better.
yeah, and he would always say that. So like that makes perfect sense. Like, wow.
This relationship is so this is an example of a soulmated relationship, and where everything was divinely guided, it's the way it's supposed to be. And now that he's out of body, you are to deepen your intuition, your spiritual skill set, not only to communicate with him, but he is there to help you hone that skill, because it's always going to be easier if we have like a go-to point, right? Something that seems physical. It's harder for people to strengthen their intuition and their spiritual skill set when if they don't have anyone, they feel like I should have someone to talk to. But you have this presence that is like, you're going to learn, and we're going to learn how to communicate, we're going to learn how to talk regularly, and it's like he's holding your hand through stuff. You're going through a life change right now in these next now he's saying sorry now. and
Okay.
and so you're needing support in that. It's important for that support to come, that you experience that support from him through him. And he's
Wow.
also saying something about go easy on your mom, or back off or relax. Like it's like you're putting too much pressure on her, or seeing her in a light that isn't necessarily true. Like he's asking you to work out some stuff there with mom too.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. That definitely
Is there
does. Wow.
is there anything you want to ask him? Anything else?
I want to know, like, what was his mindset like while he was living in this state? He was living in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I want to know like what was going through his mind at the time, because like he didn't reach out to his family, but from what we were hearing, it was seeming like he was going through a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Mm-hmm. Okay,
we
hang on. Go
okay.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, and there was like a rumor that the girl was like doing things to him, like magically.
I was gonna say, right before you said that, I was like, there's a lot of energy, like dark energy circulating around where he was, what he was. But this is the thing. His death wasn't because of that. He had a lot of energy, dark energy circulating around him. He had a lot of women that wanted a piece of him. And I don't mean a piece of ass. I mean, they wanted a piece of him energetically. Because he carried himself. He didn't, okay, hold on. Hold on. He's saying I did know. Okay. He's kind of funny too. So he said I was a good piece of ass too. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. He's
Right.
saying that he knew the energy he carried because he carried this angelic vibe. I don't mean I mean energetically, okay?
Yeah.
And people were drawn to this, and women especially were drawn to it because there was this compassionate side to him that was unexpected, and it lured women in. He didn't use it for that. It just happened to be that. And so when women, there's a couple of women that couldn't get what they wanted, like what the relationship they wanted from him, and they started doing Santeria, is what they're saying specifically. But again, because of his awareness energetically, that stuff had nothing to do with what happened to him.
Okay. That makes sense. Wow.
But his mindset, it's interesting because although he, like everyone else, would become stressed and what have you, there was this nonchalantness that also lived there.
Yes, he was very super laid back. Like very, very laid back. I mean, there's no like explain it. He had such like a calmness. I mean, and he did used to be a smoker, but aside from
It
that,
wasn't that. Yeah.
that's his demeanor, like very laid back. My dog. Yes, but oh my God, that literally makes perfect sense. So wow, that had nothing to do with it. Okay.
And there was this that there was also this awareness that it was he knew he wasn't going to live that long.
Wow.
That's something he knew.
You feel
That wasn't surprising to him. Hang on, Opie. Sorry, she has my dog has a squeaky toy. This is I had a visitor earlier and it riled them up. Sorry. So go ahead. What were you saying?
okay, but you do with it. So is it possible to tap into some of his thoughts, like when the situation happened, like right, because he got shot. Basically, he got shot, and so is there any way to know like what some of his thoughts were?
So I can't specifically get into his thoughts, although he's he's so easy to communicate with. But I'm feeling like he's saying he was still, like he was standing or something, or like, I mean, obviously he was either sitting or standing. That's not that profound. But he was, there was this, still, and there wasn't anything other than like a blink of an eye. Like he like blinked and was gone. Like there wasn't any suffering or confusion. And that's where that like angelic vibe I was saying came in, because there was this, oh yeah, okay, so it's kind of like someone saying, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and you're like, okay, I'm going to the grocery. Like he was like, okay, now I'm going over here. You know, now I'm passing over to here. Like there was just, again, this awareness that he didn't fight it. It wasn't hard. It wasn't scary. It was just like, okay. Pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. Kind of defeated. Then that would make sense, because, you know, he'd been having this situation with, when you said that multiple women wanted him, that was true, because he had a girlfriend, and then he had a ex-wife that he was married to, and the ex-wife was trying to get back with him, but he wouldn't leave the girlfriend for some reason. He wouldn't leave her alone. Like he was they said he was acting really, really weird. Just really, really weird. And he just wouldn't leave her alone. He wouldn't leave her alone. And then she ended up getting then he ended up getting shot by her ex-boyfriend.
The reason why that's why he wouldn't leave her alone. When you are aware of your destiny, whether it's consciously or not, like if he had left her alone, right? Let's say they broke up, he went back to the ex-wife, he wouldn't have died, right? That's the assumption, right?
Right.
But when destiny is what it is, you know, how many times do you hear someone say, I don't even know why I did that, or why were they even there, or how did, right? You can't escape it. You can't run from it.
Right.
And that's simply why. And I could see how people would think he was under a spell or under something else, but it was destined.
Yeah.
And when there's, you know, we're 50-50 co-creators. That 50% is ours, but that other 50% is out of our hands, and that other 50% of his destiny was out of his hands, you know?
Okay. Dang, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I'd love to, I think we need to have you back so we can talk about Haiti. It's Haiti, right?
Yes, because
And the
that's
zombies.
have like a million questions, because so happened. And plus I wanted to send you more photos.
Okay, good. So we'll have time then. Send more photos and sit with some of your questions to see if you can get them, pare them down really, really specific. And then we can, you guys this will be a great segment, because there's zombies involved. There's what did you say, curses or magic and all kinds of stuff. And it's not necessarily well, I won't give anything away, but yes, so we'll definitely do that segment. But I'd like to thank Brandon, honestly, for being so present and so kind.
Thank you.
He's a really beautiful soul.
Love
so
you.
thank you for bringing that to me.
Yes, no problem.
And I look forward to talking to you again, Margaret. Thank you.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye. Sarah, the mysterious Sarah. It's 4:58. What do we, or are we moving on to Amanda, or what do you want to do? How do we do this? Okay. Let me see my okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to,
we should move. Yeah, let's move on to Amanda. Let's go for it.
Okay. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so let's see. So I know we got a couple of questions from you. The two I wanted to focus on were Dad, and if we have time, we'll get to the other one, the other interesting story. So tell us, when did your dad pass?
He was 54 and I was 22.
So
So
was that like a few years ago, or I
it
don't know?
was,
I don't know how old you were.
oh, sorry. So it was
That's okay.
about 12 years ago now.
Okay. All right. So tell me, what's your question or questions around Dad?
So, I mean, I could ask a million things, and I know it's kind of generic. I just want to make sure or know, or it would be nice to know that he's happy or like where he is, he's good, he's settled because it was a rough path and it was like sudden. So I just wanted to see how he's doing.
Okay. Let me go back to, what was your dad's name?
Charlie?
So you just wanted, so let me do this. Let me see. You want to know
Okay.
how he's doing, yeah? Like,
Yeah.
tell me what that means. Tell me what that means for you. What do
Well, I
you
just want to,
envision or feeling?
well, I mean, I want him to be somewhere happy and free and not in pain. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe on a boat somewhere. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a pen here. Tell me your dad's name again.
Charlie.
Okay. Your dad, was it a heart attack?
Yeah, it was a massive heart attack.
So for some people when they pass, for most of us, we eventually move into like what I refer to as like classrooms. And the soul is just kind of, I mean, it's not literally this, but it's the best way to describe it. The soul is kind of discussing what it experienced, where it was, what's next. And your dad, Charlie, immediately swept up into his classroom. And again, I use those words loosely. And has a lot of contemplating that he's doing, questioning things, looking at his role and his responsibility in his death, understanding how he neglected himself. There was a part of him that really neglected who he was, his existence. He wasn't always comfortable in body. He wasn't always comfortable being human. And although I don't feel that's something he could verbalize, he showed it by not taking care of his body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so there was this huge disconnect, and it was his behavior. It was what he ate or didn't eat, exercised or didn't exercise, that created this heart attack. And it's not that it could have been prevented, because there is no accident, especially when it comes to death, but he's in the process of understanding and learning his role with it, and why he's responsible for that. That is something he's working on right now and navigating from a soul level. He, unlike, what's interesting, this is a really interesting does juxtaposition the word, where the last, Margaret's cousin Brandon was like right there, your dad Charlie is he's there, but he is working on at a soul level right now. And when that work is done, you will feel him more. I'm not saying you won't feel him. I'm not saying that when you think you see him or feel him or experience him, it's not him. It is. And we don't want to take what I'm saying as hard, like he's doing this, so he can't be doing that. But you will move into a phase in your life where you're feeling him more regularly, more consistently, and knowing that he is someone that is actually now guiding you for a little bit. And that time will come. It's just not now. And I
Yeah.
feel like for you, you feel this disconnect, and that disconnect is there because of that. But that'll
Okay.
change. There's nothing that you need to do about it.
Okay. It's funny you say classroom or kind of school because I read a lot of books on like past lives and souls and this one book, Many Lives, Many Masters, I think it was called. It kind of talked about that, and I was always
Mm,
wondering like, yeah, where is he? How did he feel about his life and like
mm.
how our life was? So it's very interesting.
Yeah. And that's and again, same with Margaret. These when we lose close loved ones like this at a young age and unexpectedly, it is their death is our rebirth. And so there, if we want to truly be able to heal and move on, I'm not saying you can't heal and move on without doing this, but if you recognize your rebirth, what were what am I supposed to do with this hole now in my life? What
Yeah.
am I supposed to do with this? And for some of us, it's very clear. And for some
Hmm.
of us, it's a gradual, subtle shift. It's just carrying the awareness that I've rebirthed
Yeah.
in his death. What does this mean for me?
Yeah.
And I feel like you have stepped into that. I don't feel like you are missing that. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. It makes sense. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have found what that rebirth is or looks like for you, or are you still looking for that?
It's like I have ideas and I'm not sure if I should um, totally do this or totally do that. But I have feelings of like how things should be and what I should do,
Okay.
if that makes
So
sense.
yeah, absolutely. And our physical um, dreams, choices, jobs are one attribute, but
Yeah.
ultimately the rebirth is much deeper, and it'll start to show itself in these physical choices and attributes. So um, the fact that you have kind of a plate full of choice, you will find your way. You are not lost. I know. I know one of your questions was. For those that are watching, I ask them to submit questions prior as well as photos because I need to know if I'm supposed to be the one to help them and if they are clear and want the help. And one of your questions, which I wanted to share for others, is a very commonly asked question: is Am I on the right path? And you had mentioned you read a book and it talked about if you're on the right path, you'll see this, a feather or whatever that was.
Yeah.
But to make sure people are aware, there's no such thing as a wrong path. And when we get caught up in thinking we are on a wrong path or we have made a wrong decision, this is where we feel held. And so
Hmm.
there's no such thing as a wrong path. What we want, where we feel like we are blocked or on a wrong path, is when we aren't clearly seeing next steps. And when a lot of times we are asked to pause and to be still on this path, and we see that as blocked or wrong, but it's just a stillness. A lot of times
Okay.
we are asked to shift the path, the choices we've made, to look at things a little differently. That's not blocked, that's not wrong, that's just change. And so when we can get that saying out of our head that we're on the wrong path or that we're blocked, once we throw that away, that's not a thing, we can
Hmm.
be more open to the choices we are wanting to make, should make, and making those choices more intuitively and knowing, oh, I'm just being asked to be still. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. We're just being
Yeah.
told to be patient right now. So, side note, but anyway,
Yeah.
is there anything else that comes up that you want to ask about your dad?
Um, I'm trying to think. Um, so you did say it was sort of his choices. and he's contemplating right now. I guess you always just want to think they're like happy and like watching out for you and everything's hunky dory. So I guess I want to hope that's the case. I don't know. I just miss him.
Let me stop you there. I think you answered the question yourself. I think you miss him, and so you want to believe that wherever he's at, he's fine, because you don't want to carry the burden of thinking, I miss him and he's not fine.
Yeah.
But I also don't want people to think that everything is always easy. Death isn't necessarily easy for people that,
Yeah.
so for Brandon, the gentleman we read prior, death was easy for him because he was very aware as a child, as an adult. And so when he died, he was just like, oh, okay, I remember this. I get it. For your father, there was confusion, and that's normal. That's normal.
Okay.
But we are never without. So was there confusion? Yeah. I mean, was it comfortable? No. I'm not going to lie to you and say that for him it was as easy as it was for Brandon. But no, now he's like, if you think about, like, if I were to say to you, your cousin is in school right now taking a test, would you be like, oh my God, I hope they're okay? Oh my God. You'd be like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
you're
they're in
right.
school taking a test. And that's where your dad's at. Your dad's not taking a test, but he's just in school. His soul's just, tracking where he was, where he's going. And he's here and he feels you and sees you and all of that. So yes, I mean, to make it easy, I can say, yes, he's fine. But I want you to understand the truth of it more than just everything's fine. And listen, the soul's work isn't always easy. He made choices in body that he has to reckon with now. And no, he's not punished for it. And no, there's not repercussions. It's just the understanding. That's all.
Yeah. So I guess I do have another question because you said that. Does he have anything that he regrets from his life that he did?
So this is what's interesting. Once the soul is out of body, they don't carry that. They don't carry the human emotions of something like regret. Now, if they are stuck, if they pass and they don't want to continue on, that's where you experience like hate and anger and frustration and regret. But no, your father doesn't carry regrets because he eventually did smoothly transition over.
That's good. Okay.
That doesn't mean, now let me clarify. Let's say Charlie wasn't the perfect dad. That doesn't mean that he's like, hey, I hurt some people and I don't give a shit. That just means he understands that those choices were made with understanding the karma that aligned with the whole family and how it affected everybody.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And then you want to quickly tell us this weird story, and I'll see if I get anything on it with the mom and the.
Okay, yeah. So it was just this weird thing that happened. My sister and I were home alone, and we were supposed to clean our playroom. We're like just at that age where like my mom could go to the supermarket and we're okay for like 20 minutes to clean our playroom and like we're safe, we're old enough. So she left to go food shopping and we were supposed to clean the playroom and we didn't really clean the playroom. And then all of a sudden we hear her car pull up and the door open and shut. And we're like, oh my God, we have to clean the playroom. So I run to see if my mom came in yet. And the door was open and there was like a ShopRite, a grocery bag there. So I'm like, oh, she's going to get groceries. Let's hurry and clean up. And then 10 minutes passed and I'm like, where is she? So I go back to the kitchen. The door is still open, but I checked the grocery bag and it was empty. So it was just a bag left there for like the last time or some weird reason. And I run back and I'm freaking out. I'm like, the door's open. No one's here and the bag's empty. It's not her. So we hid in the closet for like 25, 30 minutes until my mom came home. And we never told anyone, but we were like so freaked out. And I'm sure it was nothing, but I kind of wanted to ask if
What
it was
did you
anything.
tell your mom?
I think we might have. We might have been like, we thought we heard you come home, and she was like, no. I don't think it was her. I mean, I don't know if we asked her or not, but we felt really
Okay.
stupid.
Okay, so hold on. I'm just looking at pictures of the house right now.
Yeah.
I don't feel any energy, any entity, anything like that. I feel two girls that were super guilty, which tells me your mom did a good job at making you feel bad about not following her instructions.
For
It
sure,
feels
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
it feels like the wind blew the door open or something, and it's a funny story. You got to tell your mom that. I mean, I
Yeah.
would almost like if your mom said, "Oh yeah, I did that to freak them out because I knew they weren't cleaning." I would be like, "That makes sense." But it definitely wasn't anything other than some serious guilt on your guys' part.
Oh my, all
Yeah,
right,
I
we
don't
have a
feel
lot of
any
guilt.
energy.
Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at the house and it's all clear, all good. Um,
Okay.
that's very cool. Thank you for sharing your story and your father and yeah, all of that. I think it was really cool to talk to Charlie. Don't worry, he's there.
Okay.
So, like I
Okay.
said, it's really important that you know and trust, even though he's in this quote unquote classroom. It doesn't mean you aren't hearing him, feeling him, seeing him. Okay.
I understand that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Bye.
Bye. All right. That was a action-packed show to say the least. And thank you very much for watching. Next week we'll have even more. So if you're interested, if you've got some crazy stories that you need answers to, just DM us and we'll get you on the show. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.